Okay, so today we wanted to talk about our healing journey with our, I don't know, what are they called?
Our neurological symptoms
Yeah,
and how we healed them.
yeah. And so she had
I had
ADHD and autism.
I had ADHD and autism, diagnosed level 2 autism.
And I was diagnosed with ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And so before we started this video, we actually had to go look up the symptoms for ADHD and autism because it's been so long that I kind of forgot like all that I used to feel.
Yeah.
So
for reference, we healed our ADHD and autism probably a bit over a year ago. So when you no longer experience those symptoms, you kind of forget.
Yeah. And I wasn't formally diagnosed until, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I had some inklings that I might have it, but I didn't live with the diagnosis for very long before I was like, yeah, no, it's gotta go. Because I was prescribed Adderall. I tried, like one of the doctors had this app and you listen to this music or sound waves, I don't know. It was all like, it really honestly felt experimental, but
it did.
yeah, but I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try because I don't want to do medication. I don't know, I was just kind of was like, medication, nah. So I was giving it a try, but it wasn't working, and it was getting increasingly difficult to stay like on track with work. And I was like, damn, I need a job, you know, in order to like make ends meet. So I was like, I gotta figure something out. So that's when I got diagnosed. Then I was like, okay, well now that I know I have it, like what can I do? So I started looking into videos and tips and tricks, but none of that stuff was really working. It was all just kind of band-aids, and I was like, there's no fucking way. Like I just have to like settle with this for the rest of my life. And I asked like whoever prescribes the medication, I was asking her like, so how long are people on this? Like what's the deal? Like do people get off? Like she was like, most people are on this for the rest of their lives until they retire. And I was like, what? And like that sounds crazy. I was like, that doesn't sound like healing. So that's how I got on this journey. I was like, I was looking for a way to heal this ADHD because it just wasn't vibing with my life plans. It was getting in the way. I know some people are like feel, you know, that it makes them special or that it's different, but like healing ADHD or the symptoms, like the negative symptoms, doesn't remove like your specialness or the unique way that your brain works. That is still there without all like, let me look up these symptoms, not all the brain fog. Like I struggled with dyslexia, dyscalculia. I had difficulty focusing. I remember in the morning I would drink coffee like first thing, and I had about 3 to 4 hours before I was burnt out. So burnout, I only had 3 to 4 hours to get my work done. Everything after 12, it was just like, I don't know what the fuck, I'll have to deal with it tomorrow because I just didn't have the brain power to do anything after 3 to 4 hours. My attention span was horrible too, so I'd be in the middle of doing something and I'm like, oh, what's this, what's that? And then I noticed I had like 6 tasks open and all of them were like halfway done. And I was like, God, like what is going on? I also had a lot of anxiety because it's like, I'm not getting anything done. It's piling up, everything's halfway done. You know, everybody's asking where this shit is. And I was mostly struggling with this at work because, you know, in your personal life, you can take your time, or if things don't get done, there's nobody yelling at you, talking about you not finna get a paycheck. So it wasn't really getting in my personal life, except for maybe, no, I lie actually, because my family and friends were like fed up with me because they'd be talking to me and be like, huh? What'd you say? Mm-hmm. Say it again?
Yeah, I would say it was affecting our relationship a little bit. Because I was talking with her and she was like listening at first, and then she'd like walk away in the middle of our conversation, and it was like how are we supposed to communicate when you're constantly walking away? And from my perspective, I was like, she's running away from the problem. Like, this is ridiculous. And in my head, I was like, okay, if she doesn't figure this out in X amount of times, we're done. And I know. No, I don't know if I was really going to do that.
But you were feeling fed up.
But I was feeling fed up.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to leave you. But at the same time, I wanted the communication to get better, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, there was a little bit of issues, and I know my mom and my sister were like irritated with me about those same things.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my mom she still has ADHD because she don't believe it can be healed, so she's still suffering with it. But she has the same issues. So I was like, how you gonna get mad at me? Like, you done passed this down to me in the first place. You're the reason why I have it.
Well, the funny thing about anger is it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. Well,
so.
Yeah. But anywho, we fell upon this book called Medical Medium, and thankfully I just opened the book to the ADHD page, and I was like, wow, this is what ADHD is? Like, I've been asking doctors, for months, and they was like, yeah, we don't know, people are born this way, medicine. So I was like, okay, look, an answer, I'm gonna take this book home. And if you haven't read the book, he starts it off with, like, he gets all his information from Spirit of Compassion, who whispers in his ear. So when I started from the beginning, I was like, what the fuck did I pick up? But I was desperate, so I kept reading, and I noticed that all the things that he was suggesting to heal was fruits and vegetables, herbs, wild foods. Nothing crazy, because some people be like, take this tummy fat burning pill for 6 months and you'll be thin. So it was nothing like that. It was just fruits and vegetables. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a try. And there was a section on autism in there too. So it explained that ADHD leads into autism. So like ADHD is first level, and then autism is second. Like if it just keeps going and keeps building. So we were like, all right, let's do this. And he suggested heavy metal detox smoothies. So we got the ingredients, and he was suggesting celery juice. We had a juicer, and we were just like, let's give it a try, because both of us were tired of suffering. So we were like, yeah, let's take our health into our own hands. The doctors clearly don't know what they're doing, so we got to figure it out. And after, I feel like just a couple of weeks, I already saw a couple, meaning like 2, really. Yeah, 2 weeks. I was already noticing differences, and I started to get all giddy because I was like, oh my fucking God, is this working? Because everything else I was trying was like bullshit. Like one thing was like juggle and stand on one foot.
Yeah, I remember you doing that.
I was really trying to figure anything out. I was like, this is horrible. I can't live with this.
I remember walking in and she's like, I'm trying to heal my ADHD, and I'm like, how could that possibly heal your ADHD?
Now having healed, I see how it could, though, because it helps you practice your focus and attention. But that's not all ADHD is. So,
yes.
So
no, I'm not saying juggling on one foot isn't impressive and doesn't help in some way, but I am saying it doesn't cure ADHD.
Yeah, no, it didn't, and that's because ADHD isn't. It's a lot of issues. They make it seem like we don't know where these symptoms come from, but in my experience, they're a combination of what you eat, like your level of consciousness and awareness, and your level of trauma, PTSD, and like all three of those things that's why I personally feel that like everybody's ADHD don't look the same, is because their trauma is different, their diet is different, and their level of consciousness is different. So there's like all these different variations of ADHD. But for my experience, as I've worked on all three of those, the most I experience now is like being forgetful, and that's not even an ADHD symptom, or like really what that was my level of consciousness. I'm just not aware. I'm not conscious. I'm not present in the moment. So I forget what the hell I did. And once I figured that out, it was a lot easier. But I'm getting into a whole different topic, but
another topic, another video.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about
that.
your symptoms and your experience.
Yeah, so I had autism. I was diagnosed, I think, like 5 years ago, because I hit my rock bottom. I assumed I had autism since like as early as 3rd grade. When I was in school, I always was like one step behind everybody. I always had learning disabilities, didn't understand why. You know, my parents took me to doctors. I had nothing wrong according to the doctors. So I was basically told, like, yeah, get it together. You have nothing wrong with you. You shouldn't even be in these disability classes, basically.
Study harder.
Yeah,
apply yourself.
Apply yourself, yeah. And I felt like I was trying so hard. I mean, I'm a 3rd grader. And I was trying my absolute hardest, and I just could not keep up with the people in my grade. And as I got older, I was no longer one step below. I was a couple steps below. Now, I always graduated each grade. It wasn't like I was held back or anything. But I just...
What's wrong with being held back?
No. There's nothing wrong with being held back. I'm just stating that I wasn't to the point of being so behind that I am held back. So I was like keeping up, but not that grades really matter, but I couldn't, like, C for me was like an A. Like that was the best I could do. And so yeah.
Which makes sense, understanding like your level of trauma at that point.
Yeah.
And your diet.
Yeah, my diet wasn't great. I didn't know anything about diet. Even if I did, it's not like my parents were going to allow me to eat different than what they cooked. So I had no choice, anywho. And on top of that, yeah, like what Tenzin was saying is autism is definitely metals in the brain, as I know because I started drinking the heavy metal detox smoothie, and then my symptoms just like drastically went down.
It was so quick.
It was very quick.
I was like,
but there was still a level of autism that I still had. Well, I was calling it autism at the time, and I was very much skeptical of the heavy metal detox smoothie at first until I saw results coming, but I still didn't get everything. And so then we read the same chapter of that book, Medical Medium, and it was talking about autism is heavy metals and trauma, and like not like unresolved trauma. And I had a lot of trauma, and I was certainly not coping with trauma, like childhood trauma, in any positive way. I was definitely like, give me a Band-Aid. I don't want to go to the root. That's scary.
Oh yeah, because we were both like, well, I was drinking.
Yeah.
He was puffing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had our vices to help us with our childhood trauma that we didn't realize we had.
Yeah, so...
It wasn't working.
It wasn't working. I'm definitely kind of like jumping ahead, but when I got diagnosed, I believe the reason I wanted to officially get diagnosed is because I was thinking about getting on disability because it was so bad. I believe I got fired from my job, or that might have been...
You believe you got fired?
Well, I can't remember if it was right before or after I got diagnosed.
I think you got diagnosed first before you got fired.
I think I got diagnosed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like really struggling to even go to work. I could truly barely get out of bed. I was so depressed, very suicidal. I didn't even want to live anymore because my symptoms were so bad, and since I wasn't formally diagnosed, nobody in my circle or my family believed me. But
Oh yeah, your family wasn't really.
My family was.
They were like,
Yeah, they were like, oh, get over it. Like, we all struggle to go to work, and I'm like, no, it's deeper than that. It's.
I understand though, because like your mom, she clearly has it, so she's been living with it all her life, and so she's like, what's your, you know how the old folks do? They're like, this is how it's always been. Like,
and I'm like, no, and they were trying to tell me like, it's because you don't want to work, you young people. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to work. Like, let's just be clear. But but that's not the reason. There's something deeper. So I was finally like, I think I have autism, even though I've been thinking this since elementary school. But I finally brought it up to my mom, and so I went through finding like a doctor that's going to diagnose me, and apparently it's really difficult to find one that will diagnose women. Found that out through my Google searching. Anywho, I found this amazing person who officially diagnosed me with autism, and I was then like, oh my god, I found the answer to all my issues. But then there they were the next morning, like
the issues.
Yeah,
the issues were just given a name, but it makes people feel like they have an answer, but that's not an answer. That's just like a name. So I definitely felt like I found the answer to all my problems. Now that I know I officially have autism, I'm healed. Right. That's how you felt?
Yeah, I was like, yes, someone finally believes me. It was the first time in my life that somebody was like, believed me and was like, you do have something. And I'm like, thank you. I've been told my whole school life that, you know, like, I'm the problem, and like it's my fault. You need to fix yourself. Something's wrong with you. And so yeah, it was like kind of healing to know that there wasn't something wrong with me. Although she did tell me that it wasn't curable, that this is a lifelong disease. And I said, no, there's no way. Like, I cannot live with this forever, because I was not born with autism.
Yeah.
And I remember my life before having autism.
Same. I did not have ADHD.
No.
And then I did.
And then and she was trying to tell me, no, you're born with autism. I was like, maybe other people are born with autism. I'm not saying people aren't, but I wasn't, and I know I wasn't. So yeah, I wrote a little bit of some things I used to experience. I used to do repetitive movements. I was constantly stimming.
Oh yeah.
I was like always going like that. I couldn't sit still. I felt very uncomfortable in my body. It especially when there was loud sounds, or when there was any form of like conversation that was potentially going to go into an argument.
Yeah.
I would like start to hyperventilate. I'm like, oh my god, what is going to happen? Due to my past trauma.
The meltdowns
were very intense.
Yeah, I didn't know, and she didn't know really, that she had autism, and I didn't know. And so when the symptoms first started to arise, I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And then her own symptoms kicked off like my own childhood trauma, reaction. So then it was like we was both sitting there tripping. It was a hot mess.
It was a mess.
Oh my god, I forgot about all that. Those were tough
Lack
times.
of communication skills, very avoidant, didn't really want to like talk to each other about like the real things. And it was a chaotic mess. Sensitivity to loud sounds I wrote down. That was intense. Anytime there was like a fire engine or something, I don't know, I would like, everything in my head would just like explode. And I needed like 5 to 10 minutes to recuperate. And I practically just went completely unconscious and disassociated from reality. And I'm like, why did that happen? Like that's not normal, but it is common in autism. I had severe anxiety. I still do struggle with some anxiety, which I'm hoping to heal. I still have some healing
it's
to
not
do,
due to food.
It's not due to the food related.
Yeah, that's more so consciousness, addressing like fear.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Learning disabilities that I talked about. Oh, the special interests. That's like really common in autism.
That's a symptom?
That's a symptom, yeah. Is having like special interests. And I had like this ugly doll, if you know them, that's like a little plush thing. And
I forgot about ugly.
And I was obsessed with this ugly doll. Like, I needed to bring it. So it started like I needed to bring it everywhere, pretty much. It was my emotional support doll, right? But then when I started, dating her, I was like, I know this is like really weird, but Ugly is gonna need to sleep with us.
Yeah, I was like, what? Because for me, I was fearful of dolls because of all the scary movies that I've seen. And I was like, that thing cannot be in here with us. Like, what if it comes to life? I was being irrational.
Yeah. And I was being irrational too, because why do I need to sleep with a doll? And there's nothing wrong with sleeping with a doll.
No, but you would freak out.
This was next level. This was like
the doll be in the blanket and you couldn't find it, and you're having a full blown panic attack.
Yeah, I would panic if I didn't see this doll. And if I forgot it and we go on vacation or something, best believe I'm having a full-blown meltdown right now. I might throw things. I might hit myself. I might I was screaming. I was crying. I just wanted to throw everything. It never helped, but that's, yeah.
There's more.
Oh yeah. I'll just do one last one because it's getting kind of long. The last one is seeming blunt and rude. I was definitely considered rude on multiple occasions. It's not like everyone would just be like, who's Sequoia? Oh, that rude girl. It wasn't like that. But the example is that. Do you remember at Auntie Anne's?
Yeah.
When Aunt Annie's. Auntie Annie's.
Yeah.
There was
where's my fucking cheese?
That's not how it sounded or said. So I said back when I used to eat this way, I was getting a pretzel and some cheese, and I'm just I was very, very blunt back then. Disregarded people's feelings and emotions. Basically, I didn't even know those existed. And he forgot my cheese, and he's giving me my pretzel. He's like, here you go. And I was like, where's my cheese? I said it like that. I was like, where's my cheese? Because I was obsessed with cheese back then. That was almost my special interest in food. That was my safe food. That's what you call it. And did he seem upset or?
I don't think he was upset. I think he was just you didn't ask for cheese, and then you're like, yes, I did ask for cheese.
Yeah, I was I did ask for cheese.
Oh shit, it's about to go down. I'm just trying to get pretzels, bro.
Yeah, so it's just little encounters like that. I was monotone, very stern.
Oh yeah.
I did ask for cheese. Yes, I did. I know I did because I want cheese. That's how my brain was going. And so it's nice to just be
You used to get excited too, and whisper.
Oh yes.
You were afraid to be loud.
Yeah, expressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a time.
It was a time.
So now that's just behind us.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're making this video is to let people know, you don't gotta live with that. I mean, if you want to identify with that and act like you can't get rid of that, then sure, feel free to do that. Keep it moving. But if you're tired of living like that, do know that you don't have to, and that you can heal through diet. Although I don't personally, in my experience, a diet is the only thing you need to change. Again, you need to work on your consciousness, your awareness, your level of being, and you need to work on your trauma. And you'll just see all those symptoms start to slip away, and you'll be like, wow, the doctors are really trying to tell me that I had to live the rest of my life with this shit. And had I listened to them, I would have, because I would have believed it and I would have made it so. But I was just not accepting that, and I guess neither were you. So
yeah, and that does sound like a lot. So just in case you are wanting to heal either your ADHD or your autism, and that just sounded overwhelming, how many things you have to do.
Yeah,
I would definitely start with
you gotta start with food.
With food.
Yeah.
Looking into what foods have heavy metals in them and finding a replacement. We personally went plant-based. I highly recommend it if you can, if you feel capable, because it's hard to stop eating meat and dairy and eggs and all these things that you don't really realize you're emotionally attached to until you take it away. But even if you can just eat more plants and do it gradually, you're already going to see a difference. And looking into medical medium heavy metal detox smoothie.
Mm-hmm. Just look into medical medium.
It was
has a whole protocol there.
Yeah, it was a game changer.
Yeah, you can just follow that. We didn't do everything off that list because, to be quite honest, like everything that's available there to heal ADHD and autism, it was expensive. So we got what we thought would be the most beneficial, and then we got rid of a lot of those foods that were causing issues in the first place. So removing the issue foods, and like I really feel like just celery juice alone, heavy metal detox, and that cat's claw, those were
and
the
we
big
found,
three.
The cat's claw, barley grass juice powder, spirulina, and Atlantic Dulce all on Vimergy. That's the brand we used. Not to say there's not another brand, but
I guess we should say too, because you just listed like a lot of ingredients, and those were the ingredients in the heavy metal detox smoothie. And so, yeah, we did find them on Vimergy. But I think there's other sites. I think that one is just the best because there's no caking stuff in there, which could, again, you're trying to heal, so you don't want to put other things in your body that's gonna affect
and
that.
We did decide to go with that brand. It is a bit expensive, but
it's worth it.
So is making doctor's appointments and living with chronic illness for the rest of your life.
Hell yeah.
So
that was way cheaper when you really think about it.
It was way cheaper.
Oh yeah, because I cut down my insurance. I was like, I don't even need this shit no more. Doctors don't know shit. I went down. I just kept just enough insurance, in case like I get hit by a bus or something. But I'm not gonna be going there for no chronic illnesses. I'm not. So
no,
it's gonna be like I got in an accident.
No
and
checkups. We never go to the doctor anymore. We simply don't even need to because we found out we can be our own doctors. So yeah, this video is already long, but we just wanted to give you our story. You have anything else to say?
Nope. Happy healing.
Happy healing.